Hello and welcome to Conversations with Creatives. My name is Esther Stanford and today I am joined by the truly joyful Kirstie Bird. Now, when I decided I wanted to do Conversations with Creatives, I had Kirstie down on my list of people I would love to talk to. I have followed Kirstie online for a few years now. You may well know her. She is a modern calligrapher and she's a yoga instructor and she goes under Ink and Flow. And the reason I wanted to talk to her is because I found her story so interesting and so inspiring. She was a woman who worked in a corporate job, quite unfulfilled, and then after a meeting with somebody, she ended up changing her whole life and creating a career that fulfills her and plays into her strengths. Put my teeth in. I was actually slightly nervous before I started talking to her because I've followed her for a few years, so I felt like I knew her, like you do when you know somebody online. But I obviously don't. And she was so lovely. When I said joyful at the top of this, she is so joyful. We discuss so many things. We talk about feeling the fear and doing it anyway, taking those opportunities, taking those risks, navigating being self-employed whilst having a family, what that actually looks like, the fear, the imposter syndrome, how she built her business and her career. So I know, I'm sure you will find this a really lovely, inspiring, insightful conversation. So welcome to the show, Kirstie Bird.
It's lovely to meet you too.
I have to say, I feel like I'm meeting a celebrity.
Oh, stop. No.
Because I've followed you online for quite a few years now. And,
Oh,
do you
Esther.
ever have that when you've been following someone and then you
Yeah.
go, they're a real
Yeah,
person?
I know what you mean. I've definitely had that before. I saw someone at a festival once who I'd been following and I went up to her and I was really nervous. I was like, I've been following you for a long time. No, it's really lovely to meet you. So thank you for having me.
Oh, I'm so delighted that you've come to speak to me. As we do this, it's just a chat.
Yeah.
I've written. I'm not joking, Kirstie. I've written 97 questions because there's so many things I want to ask you about.
I love
But
that.
I just like it to be a chat, and so
Yeah.
we'll just see where it goes.
Yeah.
But when I started, knew I wanted to start doing these conversations. You were somebody that popped into my head because
Oh.
following you, one of the things that drew me to you was your story and the fact that you were a corporate worker, you were a corporate lady,
Yeah.
and then you did a life coaching session, and then
Yeah.
you went on to go off on this completely different tangent of being a
Yeah.
calligrapher and a yoga teacher. And there's something about creating your own creative life, and that's what I want to talk to you about, really. Talk to me through that, because looking you up and researching you, the corporate work, the day it was a life coach that actually came into your work,
It
and
was,
that's what
yeah.
made you decide to change career.
It was, yeah. So I was working as an art editor and I'd been working in that industry for about 10 years. So it was in my early 30s that I was in the current role I was in. And I just wasn't very happy in myself day to day. And I didn't really know what it was. And I think I was stuck in that monotonous cycle of tube, work, dinner, bed, and then the same thing every day. And I was starting to realize that repetition daily just wasn't really what I wanted to do forever. But I had no idea what else I would do because that was all I knew in my career. So at the job that I was in, there was a wellness week and they were giving away loads of things like yoga, massages, facials, hand massages at your desk, and coaching sessions. So I booked myself on because I thought I'm just going to make the most of everything that's being offered to me. So I booked onto this session I didn't even think that I was going to talk about work. I just thought it might help me with some sort of guidance with feeling a bit happier. So yeah, she basically said, what do you want to talk about? And I said, I think I'm just not very happy with way that my life is going. I don't really know why. And I was single at the time. And I think that was a playing out in my mind as well. That I was just like, am I ever going to meet anybody? I don't really enjoy work. I'm not loving my living situation. So, yeah, she basically said to me, "What do you enjoy doing in your own time?" And I'd said to her, "Well, my hobbies, I guess." I kind of said it like that as well. I was like, "I guess I kind of enjoy calligraphy and yeah, I like doing yoga." And she literally just turned to me, and I so wish I knew who she was. I don't know have her details, but I so wish I could say to her how much she's changed my life. But she said to me, "Well, why don't you just do calligraphy and yoga as your career?" And the first thing that crossed through my mind was, this is a waste of time. I mean, this is just useless. That's never going to happen, is it? Like thinking as if that would ever happen. But she was like, well, why not? And we realized that it was because I was scared and I just didn't think that I was good enough. And we all have that, don't we? Where we just don't think that we're good enough at whatever it is that we're wanting to pursue. So I was very inspired by the chat with her, went back to my desk, and while I was working, I was kind of Googling venues of where I could potentially teach a calligraphy workshop, even though it was like the most alien concept to me to stand in front of a group of people and teach my passion, which I wasn't that confident in either. So I was like, I'm just going to give it a go. And yeah, about 6 weeks later, I taught my first workshop, and it was honestly the scariest thing I've ever done in my entire life. And my sister came, and I had this big rash on my neck. And I remember she was just looking at me like, "Are you okay?" But I loved it. And I kind of came away from it I was literally shaking when I started the workshop. I came away from it thinking, actually, I did really enjoy that, and everyone seemed to enjoy it. So it started from there, really.
Bet your company. I wonder how many members of staff they lost that day. She
No,
was
I
like, "Go to
know.
this instead."
No,
And
and
the
I never
thing is,
told them that it was that coaching session that drew me away, but they might have figured it
we're
out.
not told we can have those sorts of careers, are we? And so go
No.
and be a calligrapher and a yoga instructor must seem so alien. And when you're in a
Yeah,
corporate job and you're earning a stable wage to go, well, I'm just going to go and try these things, is quite a weird concept,
yeah.
isn't it?
And I think because I was I was single on my own, I didn't really have anything to lose because I thought if it doesn't work out, then I can just go back to that kind of job, even if it's not in the same company. Because I'd been doing it for about 10 years. I did have that mentality of like, oh, I might as well just go for it. So I ended up quitting my job quite quickly after that and booked a yoga teacher training in India. So I went off to India, trained to be a yoga teacher, and I came back, and I remember the moment when I came back that I thought of my business name. I was on a really busy bus somewhere in Clerkenwell, and it was really sweaty, and I was constantly thinking about what I can do with my new yoga teacher training and my calligraphy. And I was constantly trying to think of names, and Income Flow just came to my head on this really busy bus. And I was like hanging on to the bus with one hand, and my other hand was with my phone, like frantically putting it in my notes because I was like, I don't want to forget this. And then, yeah, it just started from there,
Some of
basically.
those moments they land when we're quiet, don't they? Those sort of
Yeah.
those moments of inspiration. It's quite a leap though. I know, like you were saying, you were on your own, so there was nothing to lose in a lot of
Yeah.
ways. But did you have something after you thought about what she'd said to you where you thought, actually, I think this could work? Or was it the first workshop where you went, actually, I think this is terrifying, but
Yeah.
it feels good?
It's funny because there must have been something in me that believed that I could do it. Or maybe it was just because I was living that sort of carefree life. I thought, well, if she believes in me, if she thinks that I can do it, why not? And, one of the things that she said to me that really stuck with me was a lot of people's dreams and aspirations stay as that because they're too
Mm.
scared to do them. And it's all about fear. Like it's fear of not being good enough. It's fear of not succeeding. It's fear of people judging you. It's fear of the financial aspect of it. So when she said that, you have this dream to go off now and work for yourself, but can we make that happen, or is it just going to stay as a dream? And I thought, I want to make sure that I, just go for it and really try my best. So I think that was something that was sitting with me as well. But I had a lot of self-doubt, a lot. Because, looking at all these other calligraphers who were already doing it, and I was at the very start, I hadn't done any live events, I hadn't done any workshops apart from that one. And I was thinking, well, how am I going to get these live events? How can I ever be like the same with yoga? Looking at all these amazing yoga teachers, how am I ever going to teach a class like that confidently and hold space for people? But something in me knew that I should try, and I think it's because when I started teaching, I realized it when I started teaching and when I did my yoga teacher training, that teaching and holding space for people is truly where I feel my true authentic self, and I just love it. And if I hadn't have had that coaching session, I might not have ever given it a go and would never have realized that. And I would have always just thought, oh, that's just not me. I'm just not that person. But actually, because I would be so terrified of talking in front of anybody. I'm naturally an introvert. So the thought of, everyone looking at me was just the scariest thing. But now it doesn't faze me at all. I love hosting. So yeah, it's bizarre how
And
my
when you say you feel like your most authentic self when you're teaching, what does that feel like? Is it
it's
like a
kind
flow
of
state? Is it
yeah, I guess it's kind of this confidence that I didn't know I had. And just because I'm sharing when I'm teaching, whether it's calligraphy or yoga, I'm sharing something I'm so passionate about. And I think the passion, I really feel the passion while I'm teaching. So I just feel this deep sense of joy that I'm sharing my passion with people. And I think as well, um, the the what I get out of it. So when people say to me, "Oh, I've had calligraphy." Basically, there's people that I've taught who now are earning money from calligraphy. People that I've taught yoga to who have given me such wonderful feedback, like, this has really changed how I feel. And that's the essence of why I do it, because I want to help people feel better and um, find, maybe not necessarily always, but maybe, especially with calligraphy, maybe find this deep sense of calm that they can tap into. The same with yoga. That's where they're very similar with the meditative state that you go into. And yeah, just what people get out of it. And I just feel this like overwhelming sense of gratitude and joy when I'm sharing because of what people are getting out of it, basically.
yeah, it's and do you see potential in people? Is that part of it as well, because you can see what they can achieve, you can draw that out of them.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Definitely that's 100% what happens. I see it, not always instantly, but you can see it. And it's difficult. Like with calligraphy, it's difficult because it's not a skill. It's a skill that it takes time. But sometimes people have a natural flair for it, and I can see that straight away. And I'm like, right, you should keep practicing, keep going with it because you've got something there. And a lot of the time people just want to learn because they just want to try something new, which is exactly what I did when I went to learn calligraphy. I never thought that it would ever be something that I would do as a job or earn money from or share with other people. I thought it would just be a little mindful hobby. So a lot of people come into it with that. No, not many people go into it thinking I'm going to start a business with it because you just don't know. But when I see that potential and that kind of realization in people that, oh, actually, I could do something with this, oh, it just gives me, yeah, so much joy.
It's about connection, isn't it, as well? And we live in such a fast-paced world, and anything creative, it just allows you to express in a way, or ground yourself in a way, or just go into another sort of state, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
brings you together to work with other people, or with your calligraphy workshops, and you're in
yeah,
a room with other people, and actually, sometimes the idea of trying something new is scary, but you're there, you're supporting, you're making them feel safe. They're having a
yeah,
go. They might discover something they didn't know they could do. They
yeah,
might just end up having a laugh, or they might find a new hobby. It sort
yeah.
of builds confidence as well, doesn't it?
Definitely. I have had people message me before saying I'm a bit nervous to come on my own because I don't do this sort of thing on my own. And I always reassure them and say a lot of people come on their own. I'll look after you. You know, it's a very welcoming space. It's not intimidating at all. So I hope that people feel that when they come to my workshops anyway.
I'm sure they do. From seeing what you put out online and everything as well, and just I've seen some of the feedback and testimonials that people have given you. Did you start? Were you quite a creative child?
Not massively, no. When I went to school, and when I did, like, my GCSEs, my strongest point was, like, graphics. So I did graphic design at university, and then, I went into the publishing industry, so I was designing magazine layouts when I was working in the corporate world I started off working for a newspaper, then it was a magazine. So I always had that kind of creative flair, but if you ask me to draw anything, no chance. No chance. It's embarrassing. So yeah, I'm not kind of naturally artistic, but I think I've always had a bit of a creative, yeah, I guess I have had a creative flair, but not as much as you would expect, I think, from having.
There's a common misconception, isn't there, about creativity? Because I can't draw
Yeah.
at all, but I do paint sometimes, and I find that very freeing, as long as I know no one's going to see it.
Yeah.
And think about like, I think if you can take that away, then it's quite. Then I suddenly almost have this. Well, this painting behind me,
I
I did about
I was
18
gonna
months
say, is
ago
that
because
yours?
I wanted a painting in my office, and I knew roughly what I wanted to look like, and I got so hung up on it needs to be like this. And then one day, I had this. Did you watch Friends?
Yes.
I had this really like Phoebe Buffay moment where I bought all these colours and I went a bit wild and I was crying and I was laughing and I was going, I don't
Oh,
know why. I don't know what this is about. And my daughter was going, oh my God, tape everything. She's going to splash the frame. But there was something so sort of like unlocking something within you
yeah. It was
and
like a
whether you
release.
can do it well or not. And so it does hang there now to sort of remind me that if you can take the observation away from it,
Yes.
then just do it and feel safe in it and know that no one
Yeah.
ever needs to see it, then I think it's quite freeing, isn't it? And I think
Yeah.
creativity comes in so many forms. I remember hearing Deborah Meaden talking, and she said, "I'm a businesswoman, but I'm so creative because I'm
Yeah.
a businesswoman. It's not just let's build this business and how do we go
Yeah.
about it and thinking about all those things." So when did calligraphy come into your life?
So it came into my life in 2015, I think it was. So I was working in my corporate role, um, and me and a friend just went to a workshop because it's when the workshops really started on in the calligraphy world. It's when modern calligraphy kind of first sort of was getting really popular. So we booked onto this workshop, and I'll never forget it because the teacher said, Is anybody left handed? And I'm left handed. And I put my hand up and she said, Oh, just so you know, you're going to really struggle, but let's see how you go. And I was like, oh, okay. So I was instantly thinking, oh, I'm going to be useless at this. It's not going to be anything that I can do, but I'm here for a laugh. You know, I'm just having fun. It's not anything serious. Um, and I did really struggle. Like, it's calligraphy is difficult to master, but it's all about the practice. So yeah, I just practiced, and I just loved it. And a few of my friends were getting married, so I did like their wedding stationery, and I just kept challenging myself with new things. And then eventually, yeah, got my first live event and couldn't believe it, really.
So, when the life coach said to you, "What do you enjoy?" and you said, "I like calligraphy and yoga," had that actually entered your head had you ever had the seed of thought of this could be a career, or just it was just those are my hobbies?
Yeah, it was just those are my so in 2017, so the year before I had the coaching session, I went on a yoga retreat with my favorite yoga teacher. And I remember saying to her, I just love your style of teaching. I just think you're great. And she was like, babe, you should do it. And I was like, I don't think it's really something that I can do. Like, because obviously I was thinking I'm just an introvert. There's no way I could ever teach yoga. She was like, you should do it. And so it was in my head a little tiny bit. This seed had been planted that somebody thought that I should do it. But never seriously. I wasn't looking into it or anything. It was just, it had crossed my mind with the yoga, but not the calligraphy, not even nearly.
The seed was planted and then I mean, how wonderful of her to say that to you. That is such a sliding doors moment,
I
isn't it? And
so
then it
wish I knew who she was. It really
yeah,
upset me that I don't know who she was, and there's not
maybe
really
she'll
any way that I can find out because it was
maybe
through.
she'll see you online or something and
I
then
hope
go, "It
so,
was
but she
me!"
probably won't
Or maybe
remember.
you'll have to check her properly because it could be anybody claiming that.
Well, exactly, but I'd so wish that I'd kept her details because I would love to say to her, like, give her the biggest thank you because she's changed my life. Like, it
Yeah.
is literally her words have changed my life
So
and the
with it
courage that I've found deep within to move forward with it.
it's 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 huge, isn't it? Those sort of little moments where you suddenly start considering something that you never really would have thought of before and how
Yeah,
that's taken you down a completely different path. When it
yeah,
came logistically, when you were like, "Okay, I'm going to run a workshop. Oh shit, let's try it."
yeah.
How did you go about doing that? How did you advertise it? How did you set it up? Did you set your
I think
website up first or oh, no, you
I
didn't because you
can't
came up with the
remember
name later.
actually. I can't remember if I did my website first. No, not for the first workshop. The first workshop, I think it was just I'd put some calligraphy on my Instagram. So it was just my Instagram. And I think I did bookings through like Eventbrite with that. My first workshop was at Peckham Levels, such an amazing venue. They had like this really cool little room. And yeah, I managed to sell out. I think I just sold it on like local Facebook groups and Peckham Levels, have got a good following and loyal following. They shared it. Um, so yeah, it was amazing though. It was great. And then my website came after that, and then I started hosting them on there. But yeah, I also would like to speak to the people that came to my first ever workshop and say thank you because, the experience of teaching you gave me that confidence to move forward and do more.
So you came back, you set up Income Flow after doing your yoga training in India. Um, And then you say it was quite quickly after that that you gave up your job. But how quickly was it that
I
you just
gave up
thought,
my
"I'm
job
leaping"?
before. Yeah, I gave up my job before I went to India and then went off to India for 6 weeks. So it was a 6-week trip and then came back. And because I was in the graphic design world, I did manage to get a little bit of freelance graphic design work at the start, just to help me financially, because to go from working with no savings to setting up a new business was, yeah, really difficult. So I had a few little freelance jobs here and there while I was setting up Income Flow and trying to get myself out there in the calligraphy world. And I was teaching yoga, so that was a little bit coming in, but that's not much of an income teaching yoga. I'm sure any fellow yoga teachers will understand. But yeah, so I slowly started to build it up and then just managed to get some contacts that I got some regular live calligraphy work with, and I was teaching more workshops and it just slowly built up. And I think, like with anything, it's getting the contacts, and once you've got the experience, then it's word of mouth. And then on social media, when you've got examples of your work, people will find you and book you through that. So yeah, it took time, and it wasn't like an overnight thing. All of a sudden I was doing lots of live work and lots of calligraphy bookings, but I've managed to build it up over the years. Yeah.
And there's something about, like you said, it was you on your own, no savings, no one's coming to rescue you. But there's something quite well, it's very motivating, isn't it? You've got it's sink or swim, isn't it? You've just got to
Yeah.
go for it, and you've just got to make it work.
Yeah.
And that's there's no alternative, is there? And so that
No.
it's more than just I'm just going to try this side hustle. It's like this has to work. This is my
Yeah.
business.
I think I was so determined as well to make it happen. I didn't want to let myself down. And I had read the book. I don't know if you've ever read it. Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway
Yeah.
by So Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway was this huge mantra in my head, and it still is. I live by that mantra. So I was like, right, I'm really scared to do this, but I'm just going to go for it. I'm just going to do it anyway. Truthfully, all of the lessons that I've learned along the way and the growth that I have experienced is through pushing through fear. So everything that I've done to get where I am has been really scary, and I've been in some very vulnerable situations. So, for example, doing like a live calligraphy job for the first time, you're in front of a customer, you're about to write on something for them. They're watching you. You don't want to mess it up. There's so many little moments that have been so terrifying, like teaching my first ever yoga class. Doing my yoga teacher training, teaching online calligraphy for the first time, not really knowing how to use Zoom. There's so many things, but that's always been my driving force, feel the fear and do it anyway. And I think in the early days of my business, I was just like, well, it's really scary to do that. But then I would have a word with myself and be like, if you're scared of it, it means you need to do it. You need
Yeah.
to push through that fear, because the comfort is on this side of fear. But moving through the discomfort, that's where the growth is. And I've really learned that. And I always try to share that when if I'm helping anyone.
I think
Who
I think there's a common misconception, isn't it, when you see that someone is successful, that you think, oh, I couldn't do that.
Yes,
But that's the imposter
that's just
syndrome, isn't it?
them.
I couldn't look at them, but I couldn't possibly do it. I ran a drama
Yeah.
school for 10 years that I said I was part of
Wow.
ITV workshop when I was growing up.
Wow.
My old drama teacher said to me, "You should start your own workshop," when my kids were little. And I couldn't do that. And he said, "Of course you could." And
Yeah.
I set it up. Free session. I ran it for 10 years. It still goes, but somebody else runs it now. And every session for the first 12 months, I was on the way
Yeah.
there for a whole year. And then for
Yeah.
the next 9 years, it was fine. But I
Yes.
would, because I wanted it to be good and I wanted it to work. And I remember somebody coming to work for me after a few years, and she said, "Oh, I'm going to learn from the master." And I said, "I haven't got a fucking
Oh
clue what I'm
my
doing. I don't
God.
know.
Yeah.
I'm just learning as I go and growing
Yes.
and gaining more confidence." And I think it's really important that people understand that it is
Yes.
literally, you could have stayed in your corporate job, or you
Yeah.
could have. Everybody has a dream. It's whether you leap for the dream, isn't it? And whether you go, "I'm going to make this work. I'm not going to let 80-year-old Kirstie down. I'm going
Yeah,
to live the life."
absolutely. And I think a lot of people do think, oh, they must be a specific type of person to
Yeah.
do that, to run a business or to be successful. Absolutely not. Anybody can do it. It's just about, pushing through the fear barrier, believing in yourself that it will, it will pay off all of the things that you have to do to get there. And yeah, it's super scary when you start anything new. And I really hope that, um, I when I talk to people about it, I think people, when, if you see someone teaching something or hosting something, you automatically think that they're extrovert, they're super confident in themselves, there's no issues there. Absolutely not. 100% would describe myself as an introvert, probably an extroverted introvert. um, but it's not comfortable. It's not always comfortable to do things. And I think that is just so important for people to realize. Like, if you are somebody who's nervous to talk in front of people, nervous to put something out there in fear that people will judge you, I've definitely felt all of those feelings, and I still do now, for sure. Like, I always have self-doubt with what I'm doing, and if I don't get a job that I've had an inquiry for, I always think, oh, it's because I'm not good enough, or whoever they've picked is better than me, you know. But yeah, you don't have to be a specific type of person to run a business. Not
I
at all.
totally agree. And I think, and as I've got older, I think I've come to realize that I probably would describe myself as an extroverted introvert as well.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
episode I've put out today, we talk about how that guest, went on a health journey, and then she realized, yes, she used to be last on the dance floor, or first and last on the dance floor. But then she realized that actually, through going through a health journey, actually she is more introverted. And I
Yeah.
think a lot of actors, creatives appear in that way, but actually can be
Yeah.
quite sensitive and
Yeah.
are more introverted and
Yeah.
quiet, and need that downtime, need
I
that
need
time to
time of my
process.
own, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
God, me
Need
too.
that. Yeah. And me and my partner are exactly the same. We both crave that sometimes. So that's good, because we understand each other. We
Yeah.
understand each other's need for just a minute, or just, I'm going to go have a bath tonight and just go, listen to a podcast on my own. I'm just going to, yeah. I think it's, and if you're somebody who's not like that and you don't need that time on your own, that's also great. But I think people that do feel like that just need to know that it doesn't mean that it's never going to stop you from, just because you do feel like you might be an introvert, that doesn't mean it's going to cause a barrier with starting
No,
something new. It's
exactly. And
it's
what
not
do
a
you
barrier.
think could, because for you, because some people get told you could do this, um, or you could not, and you could just carry on in your job. I'm always interested in what the difference is between somebody who actually then goes for it and somebody who then doesn't. Has that always been in you, that kind of, I'm going to be dead one day? Is that what it is, or what is it that
Yeah.
gave you the impetus?
I don't know. I think definitely not as a kid. I would give up. If it was too scary, I'd give up. Gave up so many things, playing an instrument, dancing, because I was too scared. It was just like, no, not doing that. I think as I've got older, it does come back to that mantra, feel the fear and do it anyway. And I don't want to let fear stop me from doing anything.
Yeah.
And I really, that's how I try to live. So if something comes my way and I'm like, oh, makes me feel all like, oh, I'm like, maybe I should just do it. Maybe I should just do it because I think I'm going to learn something from that. So I think how my brain works for sure. And yeah, I don't want to get to 80 and regret not giving it a go and not trying at least.
And I think, well, I know from personal experience, I've got people in my family that had a lot of regrets when I was a
Yeah,
child, and they talk about, oh, I could have done this or I could have done that.
yeah,
And I
yeah.
think,
That's
uh,
such a shame, isn't it?
and it is and it is, and I had a lot of bereavements in my family when I was young. So I think my
Oh,
mum died when I was 11, and I think
oh, I'm sorry.
so that gives you like an energy as well, where
Yeah,
you think,
yeah.
we don't have time. And
No,
so you kind of do just have to push through those uncomfortable moments and go,
yeah,
well, what's the worst that could happen? What really, truly, what
yeah,
is the worst that can happen? Someone might think I'm a bit weird or
yeah,
a bit cringe,
exactly.
or I can go back, or I can find another job, or
Yeah.
something. Um, and so for you, when you decided to set up Income Flow, do the website and the branding and everything, did you instinctively know what that would look like? Did you just go, I'm just going to put it out looking like this and then work it out as I go? Because you were an art
Truthfully,
director.
honestly, truthfully, I feel like I've just winged it the whole way through. I've had no solid plan. I've just kind of just gone with it. So when I first started my website and everything, I did all of the branding and I built the website on Squarespace. So super easy to do that. I designed my logo. And then I soon realized, probably about, well, it was a good few years, I think I had that logo for. But then one of my friends who's a graphic designer, she has redone all of my branding, which is what it's currently at. And oh my gosh, I wish that I had got her to do it sooner because it's just a game changer.
Yeah.
I love what she did, and she's amazing. So she's really helped me with my branding. Um, and I think, yeah, I do feel I am a bit of a slapdash kind of person. I'm not very organized. It's bad to say. I'm not the most organized person. Um, so yeah, everything's just a bit, I'm a bit of a chaotic person, I would say. Chaos and fluster. That's what a lot of my
Fluster.
things did. I've got a group of friends and we're all a Spice Girl name and I'm Fluster Spice.
Fluster Spice. That is so
Yeah,
that's why you need the bath, and that's why you need
yeah.
the downtime, because you
I
need
need
to
the yoga.
process.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't really have any wise words for yeah, I the way that I've done it is probably not the most it's not the most organized way, but it's worked and I've managed to get it to work. And yeah, I've just kind of gone with it, to be honest. And when I've
But
needed things doing, I've done it.
you wouldn't know it from your Instagram. It looks very coherent, and it looks really, and
Oh, thank
it's
you.
something, I mean, I'm sure other people have this question as well, because it's a question that I personally wanted to ask, because when I just designed the logo for March House, I just did it on Canva. And actually somebody did say to me, "Oh, that looks amazing." Like, "Oh, you've obviously
It's
paid
really
someone."
lovely.
And I thought, "What? No, I did it. Okay, well, I did it on Canva. Okay, so that's okay, but it's not my area of expertise." And then
Yeah.
doing the poster for Conversations with Creatives, at first I was like, "Well, it looks like an 80s movie poster. I love that." But then as it went on, I thought, "Oh, I don't think this works so much anymore, and I need to." And
Oh,
I think before I started, I thought, I've got to have this all mapped out. The branding's got to almost worked myself up about it. And actually, now I'm far more chilled and thinking, do you know what? It's going to evolve. And like with
yes,
you in Income
yes.
Flow, you you didn't choose someone to pay to brand it, probably because you couldn't afford to at the
No, I
beginning. You're just
couldn't. I
working
couldn't.
out who
No.
you are, what the business is, what the
Yeah,
message is. So you can't
exactly.
know.
No, and I didn't know if it was gonna work, so I didn't wanna spend loads of money on something that I didn't know was gonna work, and the same so at the start, I was just sort of using pictures that I'd taken, and it wasn't until, like, yeah, a couple of years in that I invested in a photographer to take pictures of me and my work for my website and my content, which has really helped as well, and I need to actually do that again because it's a bit outdated now, but having a photo shoot has been is it really helps with the branding and especially with what I do because it's very visual, so
Mm.
it's good to have some really decent quality images.
And how does
But
it feel having your photo taken? Because I
oh,
absolutely loathe
awkward
it.
as anything, the
It's so
worst.
horrible.
Worst, the worst. But the result, I was like, actually, they're not I thought I was gonna hate every single photo. The first
Yeah.
shoot I'd done, I thought I was gonna hate them.
Yeah.
Um, but I was actually quite surprised. I didn't love all of them, obviously, but some of them I was
No.
actually I thought I would look really awkward in that photo because it was, she was like, "Okay, now like do a little laugh," and I'm like,
Do the skipping thing. You know, the
"Yeah,
web that skipping thing within a pair.
yeah." So but yeah, essentially, I don't think you definitely when you start off something new, you don't need to have it nailed and have it all clear. Like as well with your web, if you're starting off a website, it doesn't need to be all singing and dancing and have a shop and have a contact form. It can literally just be a landing page with a portfolio to begin with. Like and you just evolve and take your time with it. Like you
Yeah.
don't need to, yeah, go from 0 to 100. You just sort of do it really slowly. And, like with anything worthwhile in life, and it takes time, doesn't it? So it's not, yeah, I always try to encourage people that as well. Like it's not going to happen overnight. You've got to take your time with it. But
And I think it's a form of procrastination in a way, isn't it? It's sort of
yes,
because I've run other businesses and things like that, and I always have that bit at the beginning where it's like I want it to look a certain way, and I think, hang on, Esther, you're not Emma Greed. You don't have a team of people all working
yeah,
around you to do this. You're
yeah,
just finding your feet.
yeah,
And like you, we've taken your artwork. Uh, at the to a branding expert at the beginning, you don't really fully know what it is until you
no,
take those steps to go, well, these are what my workshops look like, this is
yeah,
what my corporate
exactly.
work looks like, and
Yeah,
this is what my yoga looks like. And
yeah,
actually, one thing I was going to ask you, because a couple of years ago I was going to do a course with you, but I couldn't do the night because I was teaching
yeah,
on a Tuesday night, I think it was.
yeah,
And I remember looking at your website then, and then I looked at your website again, and you don't have the flow on there anymore. You don't have the yoga classes.
yes,
Just have the calligraphy. And
yeah,
I have been told by many people, because under this umbrella of March House there are many things I'm doing and building, that people don't understand. Like
yeah,
they get confused. They go,
yeah,
calligraphy and yoga. What?
yeah,
Was
yeah.
that a conscious decision to go, I just have to separate these?
Yeah, I haven't spoken about this in ages actually, but yeah, this is a really good thing to talk about. So when I first started Income Flow, my vision was to very much have them closer to like keep them combined. So I did teach a fair few workshops where it was a gentle yoga flow, and then we would have a bit of lunch, and then we would do a calligraphy workshop. And it does work really nicely. And when I've done day retreats, I would do yoga and calligraphy, and that works really well. But just as when you come to my business, so on my Instagram, for example, I wouldn't put yoga pictures on there because it is confusing to
Yeah.
have yoga and calligraphy. So now it's very separate unless I'm doing a day retreat and it's just a wholesome mindfulness day. but it's very separate. And calligraphy is my most part of my job. I teach a couple of classes of yoga a week. It's not a huge part of my um weekly schedule. And I love teaching yoga. I'm teaching on the beach tomorrow morning. Can't wait.
Very nice.
Over the summer I teach on the beach, and I've got one class that I teach. But so yes, I decided to take it off my website because I think it's confusing, and I think people mostly come to me for calligraphy. They're not coming to me for yoga. That's just a separate Instagram page that I've got, and I've got like a WhatsApp group with local people who come to my classes, my little community. So yeah, I kind of realized as time went on that actually that wasn't working, to focus on like constantly talk about how it's yoga and calligraphy, because
Yeah.
as well, a lot of the time, a lot of the work that I do with calligraphy isn't, it's in store and it's live at events, so there's no yoga involved. So it's only when I organize it, it's yoga and calligraphy. And people that are interested in calligraphy might not be interested in yoga, and vice versa. So I kind of realized that it wasn't really a thing to move forward with, as like a thing to put out there, unless it's just a mindfulness day. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, it
Yeah.
totally does. And I've been doing lots of different types of work, and I was thinking, well, how do I integrate all these? And they kind of and I just kept getting the message of it's confusing. It's
Yeah.
confusing. So
Yeah.
you have to sort of pick one lane, but you almost go, but this is, I don't want four websites and five
Yes.
different Instagram pages. But
Yeah.
when I was looking at your website, I thought, Kirstie's removed the flow. I bet that is because it's confusing to the
Yeah. Yeah.
audience.
I actually am in the process of doing my website, well, like redoing it. I'm going to be spending time on it today, so at the moment it's a bit messy and there's things missing. But it was only the other day I took out the flow because there was nothing on there anyway. And I think when I do retreats, I'll just put a section on my website, retreats, so
Yes.
it's mindfulness retreats, so it's
Yeah.
not too confusing.
And
But yeah,
Squarespace
I mean,
isn't it easy to navigate? Well, I say it's easy. I've built a couple of websites on Squarespace, and the very first time, it takes
yeah, it
like a
takes
couple of hours,
time to
and
get
then it's
used to it.
fine. I was
Yeah.
very much like for the
Yeah.
first class, and then I was whizzing around it.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
and so it doesn't matter if you're a technophobe or anything like
Yeah.
that. And something that like I say, when been following you for a few years, and one of the things that really hooked me in, and I'm aware is what hooks people into accounts, is just your story. The fact that you were in corporate, you shook it all up, went off to do calligraphy and yoga, and you moved to the sea, and you met your partner, and you had a
Yeah.
baby, and it's kind of again, I keep saying it, but like a sliding doors moment that led you off in a
Yeah.
completely different life.
Yeah.
How comfortable are you with sharing those moments of your personal life online?
Yeah, I'm comfortable with it.
That's
And I know
brilliant.
that not everybody is, and I know that a lot of people want to keep their business separate from their personal life, but I enjoy sharing about it, and I think I've got a very loyal following, and a lot of my followers have, like you, very kindly been following me for a while and have seen me go through this journey. Um, and so I think, yeah, a lot of people like to see it, maybe, I guess. But yeah, I'm quite comfortable with sharing about it, and it's because it brings me so much joy. So
Yeah. And
I
it makes you, I guess the thing is, there are faceless, big accounts and that are just posts, but actually people are invested in you as a human, and
yeah,
they're rooting for you, and they want you to do well. And I actually remember when you announced you're pregnant, and I was like, oh, is that so lovely? You feel that joy. I don't know you,
yeah,
but I'm like, oh,
yeah,
how lovely. And then you want to sort of, oh, look, she's had it's all that kind
yeah,
of stuff.
yeah.
Corporate Kirstie, a few years ago, if you'd have said this would be where you would be a few years later, could you have imagined that? I don't know, even an hour before that life coaching
No,
session.
honestly, no. It is, and I often think about this, like how different my life is now compared to what it was when I worked in the corporate world. It is just such a contrast.
Yeah.
And I'm at the point now where I can't imagine ever working for anyone ever again. I just can't imagine it. And I feel very lucky to be where I am. Like, it's tough. Like financially, it's really tough because I don't have a guaranteed income every month. I don't get sick pay, and I've been sick a lot having a baby that's in nursery. Um, you don't get holiday pay, so that there's downsides like that. It's not There's no security, but the freedom to do what I want and to take jobs that I want and to say no to things that I don't. And I get to spend more time with my baby because he doesn't have to be in the whole time because I can work around things. Um, yeah, I just feel very, very, very grateful and lucky that I'm able to live this life of freedom. Basically, that's what it feels like to me. I feel like I live a life of freedom, and it's great.
Got autonomy,
I
haven't
feel
you?
very grateful for the life coach, for the journey, and I feel grateful that I've managed to find the courage to do it.
Yeah.
Because if I hadn't if I'd have gone, "Oh no, it's too scary. Oh no, I'm not going to do it," and just stuck with my corporate job, I'd probably be, yeah, unhappy. Just not as happy as I am now. So
Live by the sea, and you've got your boy and your man, you got your
yeah,
boys, and
yeah, got my boys.
it's just and it is just the how that courage, how that feeling the fear and doing it anyway sent you off on a completely different trajectory, and that's wonderful. And my dad's from Whitstable, so
Oh,
I don't
nice.
know Essex very well. I've been up a
Yeah,
couple of times, but it just looks beautiful, beautiful way to live.
Whitstable's lovely.
It is lovely, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's very different from when I used to go in the 80s,
yeah,
but we go there a lot, and I love it. It's got my heart.
yeah,
My daughter, when we get there, always says, "Oh, we're home now." So when I see your posts where you're um, on the beach or doing your yoga, I mean, it's such a rich life, isn't it? It's a rich
yeah,
life, and
yeah,
you're in charge of yourself. And I know people can sometimes get cross with this question, but as a mother and becoming a mother and fitting this in,
yeah,
I totally understand why people say you wouldn't ask a man this question, but I actually would ask a man this question when he's a
yeah.
creative. You then have to navigate this little person into your life and my kids are 19 and 17, and I
Wow.
still that my husband works in a corporate job. He's an engineer, and he does his set hours every day. So if anything is going on, it is still me. And my
Yeah.
daughter's got a lot of health things going on at the moment. So I'm
Oh,
sort of
sorry.
navigating that with her,
Yeah,
and parents' evenings and stuff. So my work still, that is the joy of it, is it fits
yeah,
around everything else.
yeah,
However, the flip side of that is it fits around everything else. So
yeah,
sometimes I'm
yeah,
going, I haven't, oh shit, I haven't done that yet. I haven't
yeah,
quite had time.
yeah, yeah.
How do you find navigating all that?
Yeah, it's been difficult, and I think when I first had my little boy, I did really find it difficult. I missed my business so much because I'd gone from having all that time to do work on my business, to spend, do all the events and everything, and then obviously no time to do anything especially when you've got a newborn.
Yeah.
Um, and I didn't want to work in the first few months, but I did get to the point where I was like, oh, I kind of need to work because when you work for yourself, you don't get like I didn't get very good maternity pay because it was just the statutory. And I didn't, so you don't get benefits really for it. So I was like, oh, I need to go back to work. So I think I went back, yeah, 4 months. I did after when he was 4 months, I went back and did my first live job. And it was really difficult being away from him, especially because I was breastfeeding. Really difficult, really challenging. But I loved it. And I thought, oh, I really feel like a bit of me is back. And I
Yeah.
think when you become a mum, I'm sure a lot of mums can relate. You do lose a sense of yourself. You lose a sense of who you are, and your identity has completely changed. So I have struggled with that, but things are much easier now. Now he's in nursery a couple of days a week, and I do work out. My partner's really great. He really helps out. So if I have like a weekend event, he's great at he's just sort of takes him, obviously, and because he's his dad, but you know what I mean. He's not reluctant in any way.
Yeah.
He's amazing, really supportive of what I do, which really helps. So yeah, I just fit it around. But there are times where I get jobs come in and I can't do them because I'm being a mum, which is obviously the best job in the world. But it is difficult because I wish I had more time. So Thursdays are my full day every week because Woody's in nursery all day. And I just feel like I can't even get scratch the surface of what I
Yeah.
need to do. By the time I've
Yeah.
replied to my emails and done all the admin, there's not much time left for me to do the business side of things, which is the website. So I'm going to try and get round to that today, but I'm going into London tonight for an event. Um, so yeah, it's difficult, but I wouldn't change it.
No.
Yeah,
And it's funny, isn't it, how I've done an interview with somebody else that's coming out probably next week, and she's an artist, and she's got a daughter, and she talks about the fact that she has this rule. She had to flip her day so that the morning was for the creativity and the afternoon was for the admin, because she said
yeah, I
otherwise
like
I
that.
start the admin and the admin takes all day and then I have no time for the
That
painting. And I thought
that
that's
is so
really
true.
interesting,
That is
because I find
actually
that.
I love that. That's a really good way to think of it, and maybe I should adopt that
It's
because
because
she's so
it is
right.
hard, isn't it? You get, and I find the admin the difficult side. So you're tidying up after breakfast, and then I get to into my little office,
Yeah.
and I'm like, oh, gotta do the ad. And then there's no. Have you heard the analogy about the spoons? That we've only
No.
got so many. So we all every day we've got 20 spoons when we wake
Yeah.
up, and making breakfast takes a spoon, but then the dog's barking, and that takes and stressing you out,
Yeah.
and your spoons get used up really quickly, and it's
Yeah.
almost. And I really liked when Nadia said that if you flip it, I mean, it's
Yeah.
whether you can. I almost feel like I need to respond to people before I
Yeah, me
start the
too.
work.
Yeah, me too. Because it's niggling in the back of my brain.
Yeah, it's like an open tab, isn't it?
Yeah, and there's always things to do when you're running your business, whether it's just admin, creativity, thinking of new ideas. Like I've got so many things that I want to launch and
Yes.
do, but I just don't find the time to do them. I'm like, I
Yeah.
really need to, and I think I do struggle with time management. That's where my fluster spice comes back. But I do struggle with that, and I learn a lot from my sister. My sister is amazing with organization and time management, so she does teach me a lot. But I think it's about prioritizing what needs to be done and making it I just live by lists are so
Mm,
important. I need to have it all written down and follow it, and yeah, I just need to get round to things. But it is difficult, and especially if you do work from home with your business, there's cleaning to do, there's washing, so you get caught up in all of that, and the next thing you know, hours have gone by.
yeah. There's a knock at the door. You're in the middle of
Yeah,
something, and there's a parcel
yeah,
arrived, or yeah,
yeah,
it's sort of. I have to leave my phone in another room, and have it on silent. And sometimes I get
yeah,
people saying, "Well, we couldn't get hold of you," and I'm like, "Well, I usually
yeah,
family," and well, I can't be constantly at everyone's beck and
yeah,
call.
yeah.
It's. Would you ever consider at some point maybe hiring, I don't know, a VA or something
Yes,
to do
definitely.
some of
That's
that?
another thing that I need to get round to doing, to be
Yeah.
honest. I need to get round to doing that because I think it would really be beneficial. But yeah, it's difficult. And I think a lot of it is like I just sometimes need to remind myself that I just need to be patient because I'm a mum now. I've got a little baby. This is his chapter. And me and my partner always say that. We always say this is his chapter of life. It's all about him. And then we fit ourselves around what he needs. And I just need to remember that my time will come back one day and it will come quicker than I realize. But for now, I've just got to work my business around him as and when I can and be patient and not let things get to me. Like if I can't take this amazing opportunity that's come my way, just really try to lean into, well, at least have the gratitude that it came my way. I know I can't do it, but at least it came my way. And, hopefully opportunities like that will come again when I can do it. So
Yeah,
I'm just trying
absolutely.
to live like that with this sense of just being grateful for what I do have that comes in and try not let frustration of not being able to do it all, trying to let that go. And the time, try not to let myself get overwhelmed. It's the
Yeah.
overwhelm of everything, trying to, it's so true what they say, there's not enough hours in the day. And it's just about managing that feeling of stress of not being able to do it and just being like, it's okay. That will just have to wait.
Yes, it's taking a step back, isn't it? I remember a cognitive behavioural therapist saying to me years ago, if it doesn't matter in 5 years, it doesn't matter. But
Yeah,
I think it's tricky when you have got just all these things that need doing and you want to build your business and you're awash with ideas and the
yeah,
ideas are coming in, you're like, oh,
yeah,
and then you've got a family and a
yeah,
life and you want to take care of your health and all of these things. It
yeah,
is tricky, but I think like you say, it's so important to just step back and go,
yeah,
he's my priority, and
yeah,
then my boys are my priority, and my like, and this is
yeah,
as much as I can do, and being compassionate
absolutely.
with yourself. Um,
Compassionate is the big one, yeah.
I think compassion, yeah, which isn't always easy, but I'm getting better at it as I get older.
Yeah, yeah.
If people want to work with you, you do so many different things. Talk to me about like if people want to work with you.
Yeah, so I do a mixture of things, and I think that's another reason why I love my job so much as well, is the variation of it with the calligraphy, especially. So with the calligraphy, I mostly do live events, so it would be brands coming to me for personalization of a product that they have on offer. So that happens a lot. Then it's in store. So when customers buy things from the shop, you have that personalized, which is what I'm doing later today. And then I do remote stuff as well. So remote things for events. So I recently did some menus for an event that happened this week. Wedding stationery. I don't advertise myself as a wedding calligrapher, but I do wedding stationery a fair bit. So place names, do a lot of place names. Signage, so the welcome signs. Yeah, it's very varied. But yeah, essentially it's just personalized. It's such a it's so popular at the moment as well. Having things personalized, it's a big thing, isn't it? So personalization of products is a big one. And then yeah, stationery, whether it's mailers, invites, place names, menus. Yeah.
And you do mentoring as well, don't you?
I do, and I love it so much. So I have, yeah, when somebody wants to start a calligraphy, it's in particular calligraphy. I've only done mentoring with people who are keen calligraphers, but I think it would tie across to anybody who would be keen to start something creative new in their creative hobby. But it's basically I just like to share everything that I've learned along the way and uh, practical things, because I think when you're starting out, you have no idea to where to even begin with setting up a website, where to price yourself, how on earth do you even think about pricing, how to get the work. Um, there's so much to it, isn't there? That's overwhelming when you're starting out. So that's why I love to share that, because it's just me sharing my journey and how I got to where I am. Not saying that I'm hugely successful, but I'm managing okay. So
Think
that's
it's
enough.
really good because I've seen you say before on your post, "Don't undercharge." That we're like,
Oh,
"Don't
yeah,
undercharge your work." It doesn't. It's not helpful, and I think
yeah.
it can be hard. I think it's really important that that is communicated, that people know that,
Oh,
because I think, particularly when you're doing something creative, there is a temptation or an expectation that it's
yeah,
going to be not that much, or that you shouldn't, that it shouldn't cost too much for somebody to pay for. And
yeah.
actually, what you have is a skill. This is your
It's a
business. Like you
skill.
say, there's no
Yeah,
sick pay, there's no holiday pay.
yeah. It's a skill that I've developed for over a number of years now. But also, I think when you're new to it, any creative business, you have no idea what to charge. Like you have no idea where to put yourself. So I personally like to be quite open about it. So if somebody comes to me and says, I was thinking of charging this, what do you think? I will be honest and say, I think it's too little or I think it's too much. Like I've got a lovely, lovely WhatsApp group that I started I've got an Income Flow Academy. So it's basically a bunch of calligraphers who, um, some of them are early in their journey of doing live events. Not all of them, but some of them are fairly new to it. And it's just a space, a safe space to talk about anything about events, pricing, queries that we get come in. And we basically just sort of all help each other, mentor each other in the group, and it's really lovely. So, someone will put in there, "Oh, I've been given this job. Do you think that I should charge this?" And then, we'll all go, "Actually, I think you should charge double that." Things like that. Or, "Oh, I don't know what pen to use on this material. What do you think about using this?" So it's really great to have that support. And I think whatever business that you're wanting to start, it's always a good idea to seek out other people in the industry that you can talk to, because I would never feel threatened or anything by somebody coming to me for advice. I want to help people, but I would want people to I like it when people come to me and we have a conversation about it, not just simply sending me a message, "How much do you charge?" Yeah, no. I think I would much rather they say, I'm thinking of charging this. What do you think? And then we have a
Yeah.
conversation about it. I'm not just sort of going to be giving out numbers, do you know what I mean? And pens, things like pens. You know, just yeah, let's have a conversation, not just what pen is that? It's just nice to sort of, but yeah, I love helping people, because I know how I felt when at the
Yeah.
start of it all, and I know that I would have loved to have somebody who's already in it that would be open to talking to me about it and give me some guidance, because I just sort of felt like I just winged it. I winged it with the pricing, with the pens, with the equipment, with everything. And it's just nice to support people that are at that point, to help them on the journey. So yeah, I just love it.
I
And
think that's brilliant.
connecting with everyone in the
It
industry.
it is connecting, isn't it? And I think again, it's human connection. You've
Yeah,
been through it. You're clearly, well, I mean, I say this, I've spent an hour with you, but you feel like you're a very empathetic person, and it's
thank
about, connecting with people and helping people. And we're all the thing that I think no one teaches you when you're young is everybody's making it up, everybody's winging it.
yeah,
Even I've heard Barack Obama go, you get in a room with all these very successful people and you
yeah,
realize quite quickly nobody knows what they're doing, they're just at different levels. And so
exactly. And we're all
it's important to
human.
share that knowledge and
Yeah.
share that work and those, and just connect with people and be there. I'm so delighted that you gave me your time plus to spice to to come and talk to me.
So
It's
funny.
been so nice to talk to you, to hear about how
Oh,
you've built this life, this business that creatively fulfills you and
thank
allows
you.
you the autonomy and freedom to live the life that you want. And I think it's a really inspiring, well, story. It's not a story. It's true. But you know what I mean? For someone to
Yeah,
hear who
thank
might be
you.
at those kind of crossroads of,
Yeah,
I'm going to leap. I'm going to feel the fear and do it
yeah,
anyway. So
yeah.
thank you so much for
My
talking to me.
pleasure. My pleasure. It's absolute joy to talk with you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you.
I find Kirstie so inspiring. I think the more I hear about those kind of stories where somebody took a risk, did the thing, followed the dream. I also don't want it to sound too Pollyanna either, because that doesn't necessarily always work. So I think it's really important to share these stories where people did take the risk and it worked, but also, Kirstie talks about the fear, the work that's gone in, that it's not always convenient, but then also the joy that brings. And I love the fact that she will give advice where she can and mentor people and things like that. And I think, have you ever seen the photograph? I think it's all women actually, but this applies to men as well, obviously, where there is a ladder and there's loads of women on this ladder, but they are helping each other up. So the ones that are up higher are helping the ones up. And I sort of think that's what Kirstie's doing with her mentoring, and the fact that she will give advice if needs be and stuff like that. Because I think if you can't see how somebody does something, it can appear so very difficult. There's that saying, isn't there? If you can see it, then you can be it. And that's why I think these conversations for me are important, because if you can understand the mechanics of something or how somebody's brain works or how they did something, you can see that it's achievable, and you can also see that maybe it's not as daunting as you thought it was going to be, or it's far simpler, or somebody's brain works in the same way as yours, or whatever. And so that's why I think it's really important to explore things like, well, how do you make that work as a parent? And how did you set up your first workshop and things like that? So I'm really grateful to Kirstie for giving me her time. It was really lovely to meet somebody I follow off Instagram. It's very exciting. And I did a little gurgle then. Yeah, and I'm really, really grateful to her. And I really hope you took something from the conversation as well. Next week, I am back. And guys, I've got a fella. I've got a man coming on to the... I keep going to say podcast. This isn't a podcast, but like I said before, I will turn it into one, I think. I'll upload the audio. Yeah, I've got a bloke coming on. First bloke, episode 9. What's happening? We're all going to lose our minds. So yeah, I'll be back next week. If you enjoyed this episode, please do like, subscribe, share. It really helps. Yeah, have a lovely week. I was thinking of Strictly then. I was going to go, keep creating. Maybe not. Have a lovely week, and I'll be back next Thursday. Lots of love.